Alrighty, welcome class. We are going to set our queer lenses on and we're going to watch Knock at the Cabin. Welcome back everyone to the channel. My name is Garrett. Today I'm going to be bringing you a review for Knock at the Cabin. This is M. Night Shyamalan's latest movie. It's based off of the book The Cabin at the End of the World by Paul Tremblay. Knock at the Cabin is about a gay couple and their daughter going to a remote cabin in the woods, pretty far out from anywhere else, and four strangers arrive to tell them they have to make a difficult decision to save the world from the apocalypse. And M. Night Shyamalan is very much one of those directors, and it is very cliche to say this at this point in time. He is very much a hit or miss director, but even with his misses, he's a director that I get excited for with his movies. I am anticipating them a lot. Since I heard about this movie, especially the fact that it's following gay male leads. That's something you don't see in a lot of horror movies or really movies in general. So I was really excited for this movie. I wanted to start with that bit in this video because I just really need to enforce that I am a queer person who saw this movie, and a lot of my opinions are because I saw this movie as someone who's gay. Now, it's pretty obvious to you who's watching that I have the Bear Pride flag behind me. I don't really feel like I shouldn't have to say that, but I think it is very important contextually so that you understand what I understand. I will start out with a spoiler-free portion, and when I get into spoilers, I will let you know. So don't be afraid to keep this video going. I will let you know when spoilers begin. Let's jump into the review. So 90% of this movie, I loved. I think it was great. I think it is shot so fucking well. I can't believe how well this movie was filmed. The shot composition and choices of where Shyamalan put his actors and where the camera was put. It was very interesting. I really liked it. You're kind of stuck in this cabin for most of the movie, so you have to make it feel special every different shot, so that it's not getting monotonous and tiresome. I think M. Night Shyamalan did a really good job with that. The acting was so good. Bautista really gave a career performance in this movie. He gave me a career performance with them jeans, if you know what I mean. I can't believe I said that. Oh my goodness, let's keep going. I love our main family. Jonathan Groff does a great performance. The actor who plays Andrew is very good as well. And the little girl who plays Wen, oh, I love her so much. She's so precious. This is her first time acting in a movie. That's insane. Great job. The sound design is great, especially in the theater. It's very good stuff about like putting stuff in the background behind you with those speakers. It's very interesting the way they did that. There's really no faults in this movie from a technical aspect, except for some VFX work not being the best, but that's okay. I assume this movie didn't have a big budget, especially it being stuck to pretty much one location. But yeah, those are my really good thoughts about it. I really enjoyed the story. I understand what the story is about, what it's trying to say, about faith and your belief in it, and really just believing in anything and how that can be toxic or, you know, righteous in a sense. But your belief doesn't have to be specifically religious in the context of this movie. It's really just about believing in anything. I actually do recommend you go see it. I don't have a lot of spoiler-free thoughts, really. I'll get into some negatives real quick. M. Night Shyamalan really likes to spell out literally everything in his movies, and this movie is something that really detracted from it. He lets you know what's actually going on, whether there is an apocalypse or whether there isn't, and whether these people are crazy or correct, and whether they're telling the truth or lying. He tells you by the end of this movie, and I really think he didn't need to do that. I'll get into it in the spoiler section, but the book is very different from the movie in its ending. And the ending in the book, I enjoy a lot more than the ending of this movie. So the end of this movie, I didn't really enjoy. It says some really baffling things in the context of the world of the movie. I'll get into that in spoilers as well. And this movie really shows that not all great books need to be made into a movie. I think this would be way better as a play, if I'm being honest. You have the fourth wall be the wall in the cabin that has a TV on, so when the news stuff showing the apocalyptic events is facing your audience, you can see their reactions. You can really keep this just into one location and still like have these flashbacky scenes that the movie does. It doesn't really need to be a movie. I think the play lends to the more ambiguous ending of the book, and I really think that's what they should have gone with, not a movie, a play. The movie's pretty tense as a thriller. I was genuinely tense during this movie. Like I said, I loved 90% of it. I was there for it. I was there for these characters. I cared for them. I cared for all of them. Even like the 4 people that show up, they really have this charisma in them that you kind of care for them. You know what they're doing is questionably wrong, but they just seem like good people, and it doesn't make them villains. There's no villain in this movie. Okay, I'm gonna jump into spoilers. I'm gonna rip this movie apart now because I'm pretty pissed off at something that the movie does, and I'm gonna get into it. So again, spoilers. So the movie is pretty obviously about religion. The characters quote the Bible so many times in this movie, pull literal dialogue from it. The story is based off of the Bible itself with the apocalyptic events and the things that happen throughout the movie. And considering that context, this movie leaves a really sour taste in my mouth. So in the movie, you have the 4 horsemen that are the people that show up to the cabin. During the first kill of Rupert Grint, Jonathan Groff's character says he sees someone behind Dave Bautista. Obviously, that is supposed to be God, I believe. And the fact that this apocalypse is so religiously based and that God is apparently real in this movie, so inherently everything else in the religious text must be real. So by inferring all that, Andrew's defense at the end of the movie of why should we kill one of ourselves, the world hates people like us. And I agree with that sense. Why should these 2 characters and their daughter not be allowed to have a complete whole family just to save a world of people that doesn't love them too and hates them for just who they are? It's just who they are. And with this religious apocalypse being true, and that God is there, and that the word of the religious text, everything in it must also be true. These religious people are correct in their hatred of gay people. Their beliefs are apparently valid in the world of this movie. So if that's true, why are they saving them? Why does Jonathan Groff's character have this belief that the world is saving when you're shown flashbacks of their lives? And each flashback shows a different side of the difficulty of being gay in this world. You have family members that don't accept you. Andrew's parents don't like Eric at all. You see the difficulty of them having to go to adopt a child and literally lying to them, saying that the wife is home, and this beautiful moment is ruined because they can't be a family normally. And perhaps that Gwen's deformity in her lip is kind of what allows them to be able to actually get her. Maybe the adoption agency doesn't think that a parent is going to want her, so any parent that comes around, they'll gladly give her out. I don't think the movie is really saying anything about that, but I just think that lends to them not being able to get a perfect child. Gwen is incredible in this movie. I love her character a lot. I don't think a physical imperfection means she is not perfect, but maybe that leads to something in this movie for those characters that kind of read it that way. And then you see them just trying to live their best lives on a date at a bar, and Rupert Grint just comes around and wants them to shut up and be quiet, and they're not being loud or over the top or really bothering anyone else. They're just living, and then he goes and hits Andrew with a bottle on the head, and it shows that causes trauma and really affects him. He starts taking boxing lessons. He has to feel like he needs to be the protector of this family. So just seeing all of these things these characters have gone through in their lives, and me as a gay person in the actual real world, not in this fictional movie, I felt for them. I was on their side. I was like, okay. This movie isn't out to get gay people, by the way. The four horsemen that arrive genuinely did not know who would be in this cabin. They didn't know that it would be a gay couple. They don't make any homophobic remarks. The four horsemen try to save themselves a little bit because Andrew and Eric are very much like, we're gay people. You're obviously attacking us and came to this cabin in the woods. Why are you here? It must be because we're gay. And the horsemen are like, no, 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 no. We don't care that you're gay. It was a surprise to us. We're fine with it. It doesn't matter. You still have to make this choice. And again, this family has to make the choice to not allow themselves to be whole in a world that hates them. It's fucking bullshit. I don't agree with the ending of this movie. And the movie never explicitly says anything that I've said in the spoiler section. It is not saying that religious people are allowed to hate the gays because an apocalypse from the Bible really exists. So I'm making logical inferences. Maybe it's a false equivalency, but this is how I read the end of this movie, and it fucking sucked for me. This movie does not need a gays versus religion subtext. The book makes it so with the characters it chooses, as does the movie, but it's not about the gays and the religion clashing against each other. This movie isn't about that. It's just faith in general and what you believe in general, and will you stick to that? Can you be changed? What's going to affect that change? My gay eyes just picked up on this subtext in this movie, and maybe I'm forcing things to be there that are in the movie that aren't actually there. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking about this topic. I really got heated over it. It was pretty wild to me. It just was like, okay, why did I watch what I watched? The book is very different in its ending. Gwen gets shot in the face accidentally, and in the end, Andrew and Eric have this big, long conversation about what they're going to do, and they just decide, we're not going to do anything, and then the book ends. It doesn't tell you if the apocalypse is real or not. It doesn't tell you what their choices mean. It just leaves you that. But of course, their lives are already ruined because their daughter was killed. So it's just like, if the world is going down, at this point, we should go down with it. I side with Laurie Strode in this sense.
Oh, let it burn! No! Let it burn!
So with the book having a much more ambiguous ending, the fact that M. Night Shyamalan literally says, no, everything in this movie was real. Rupert Grint was the guy at the bar, but he's becoming a better guy. The chef lady actually has a son. The nurse lady was an actual nurse. Bautista was an actual teacher, and they just had these visions and came to this cabin, and everything happened with all these coincidences lining up, but it was real, and Andrew should feel bad for letting everything happen, and it's such a stupid ending. I think the ending sucks. And I was on board until the end of this movie. I felt like the acting and the characters were very complex. The cinematography was outstanding, so it was just drawing me in visually. It's very visually deep. I love how this movie is filmed, and I think I might get this movie because of how it's filmed. This movie is just the Olympian that's having a great technical run. Every step they're making is pretty perfect, but like 10 feet away from the finish line, they trip, fall on their face, causes a nosebleed that like ruins their face completely, and you just left, like, they don't get to finish the race at all. It's just there, and it's a bummer, and it's like, what the fuck was the point of what I just watched? Because I don't think this movie really says anything in the end. It says things, but I don't think it really nails what it's saying, and I felt like a more ambiguous ending would lead you to decide from the information presented. Let you be the god that decides the fate of this world from what you've seen. In the end, I was loving this movie until the end. I think it's really well made. I think the acting is great. I think the story is pretty good. The ending just sucks, and I don't like the ending. But that's a more personal preference. Of course, I'm a gay person. I felt like this movie says things about the gays in their world that I don't agree with, but that's just my opinion. Let me know your opinion of the movie down in the comments below. Do you get what I'm saying with the ending of this movie? But I don't know if I'm right. I might just be stupid, but also art is open to interpretation. And I interpreted this movie the way I did, and it just left me not liking it. So I'm gonna give this movie a 7 out of 10. It was a 6, but I raised it up to a 7 because of how much I appreciate the effort and work that went into this movie. But again, the ending just kind of ruined it for me, and I don't have much else to say. So that's my review for Knock at the Cabin. If you liked it, please give it a like. If you want to see more of my videos, please hit that subscribe button. This is the first movie review I've made for this year. I'm really excited to get back into it. Thank you, by the way, for the Scream trailer reaction. Wow, I can't believe that's over 400 views right now. That was astounding and unbelievable, and I haven't had that success in a video in very long. I'm very thankful for that. Thank you for watching that video. Truly could not believe that it did that well. But I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye! The marketing for this movie was incredible. That trailer, the sound design with the trailer, the knocking in the trailer and this movie is so creepy and weird, and I loved how the trailer was edited. It hypes me up for this movie big time. It just didn't stick the landing.